introduction of yourself to the audience, starting with Brad.
Okay, I'm Brad Wells. I'm the Vice President for Administration and the Chief Financial Officer here at East Bay. So welcome to East Bay.
All right. I'm Dudley Braun. I'm from Lafayette, and I've had a career in a software company, and now I'm retired, just an angel investor.
Hi, I'm Diane Rush Woods. I'm a faculty member in social work. I'm the diversity officer for the university, and welcome. I'm excited.
Rocky Fernandez, born and raised here in Hayward. I'm a district director for State Assembly member Bob Wojtkowski. I also work for several nonprofits. I also happen to be a candidate for city council on Tuesday because I want Hayward to have more of a startup mentality here in the city. So thank you, and vote Tuesday.
My name is Elias Fulmore. I am an alumni, recent graduate of Cal State East Bay. I'm also a graduate professor at the Academy of Art in San Francisco and a designer for a 401k investment firm in Sunnyvale called Financial Engines.
Hi, I'm Rick Sherritt, and I'm an alum. Before we had all these beautiful buildings many years ago, and I've been active with the Educational Foundation here at the university as the chairperson 2 years ago. And I got an honorary doctorate from the university 2 years ago. So they've been getting their blood out of me for quite a while. You can see I have it coming out of the side of my cheeks. But I'm an entrepreneur. I've started and sold 12 to 15 businesses over my career.
Hi, my name is Ian Pollock, and I'm an assistant professor in the graduate program for multimedia and in the undergraduate art department, and I'm just thrilled to be here, so we'll talk about it.
I'm Rafael Hernandez, big man on campus, Associate Dean, College of Letters, Arts, and Social Sciences, composer, teacher, and major paper pusher. Thank you very much for participating in this, and make sure you talk to Ian about the multimedia graduate program here at Cal State East Bay. Thank you.
Hello guys, I'm Dan Martin. I'm an associate professor here at Cal State East Bay in management. I'm a visiting associate professor at Stanford in the medical school. I'm also the director of research for the Charter for Compassion, but I also run a business, and I'm a veteran of many hackathons, so I'm thrilled and excited to be able to see what you guys have come up with, because I'm going to try to steal it for my next hack. I'm just kidding, obviously. But I look forward to your presentations. Can't wait to see what's going on, and I'm so happy that you guys made it through the entire weekend. Thanks.
Thank you. Before we introduce our first speaker, I just want to give a great applause. So if anybody who was on the organizing team, please stand up. That includes you, Jerry, obviously. So it's a ton of work to put on one of these events. I put on 4 in where I'm originally from, Eastern Washington. So I know how much energy and time and sweat, blood, and tears it takes to especially put on your first event. So I want to really thank you guys for taking the initiative to bring this event to your community and to the school. Jerry, I'd like to just point you out for your vision. I believe you were the visionary behind this, so I think definitely without a doubt, we need some applause. So, thank you for
I'm not scheduled to speak. I'm going to keep this super short, which is just, I'm really so appreciative that so many students from across California, not just Cal State East Bay, came here to join us in reaching out to our professional communities and building startups together. We have, I think the organizers here and Cal State East Bay have prepared little tokens of our appreciation for all the participants. So after your presentation, we'd like to invite you to go outside, and Marie is waiting for you right in the lounge, and she has little goodie bags to give you to help you remember us.
So on the note of Marie, so there's been 2 women here that have been outstanding, and my experience with having any success with Startup Weekend has always been about having organized, intelligent women really making it happen. I saw that happen this weekend. So Emily and I know Marie's outside there, so I just gotta like to point them out, well, one of the two that's in the room, for your great contribution to this event. It definitely could not have happened and wouldn't have been as great without you guys. Okay, yeah, I got a little shout out from the back, yeah. Thank you, one fan. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Ian Pollock, Professor Ian Pollock, Assistant Professor, Graduate of Multimedia Program, while giving us a quick little speech, pardon me, I don't want to undersell it.
You're not underselling it. All right. Hi, there I am again. So when I came here on Friday, it was a really small auditorium, and it seemed like, yes, I can talk to you guys, and now we're in this big, beautiful hall. So I'm a little bit more nervous than I was about 15 minutes ago. But I wanted to say a few things here about this startup weekend. Principally that about a year and a half ago, Jerry started talking to people around campus about creating some kind of synergistic events where departments could break out of silos and work together and really create some innovative programs across disciplines. And it's really, I think, you can't sort of say it often enough. The energy that both Jerry and all of the people that have made this event happen have put into this event. I mean, I'm on the mailing lists. My mailbox is awash with messages. My phone is filled up with text messages going back and forth at 3 o'clock in the morning, making sure that you guys have an amazing event. So if you haven't thanked them in person, make sure before you leave here that you shake all of their hands and that you make sure that you recognize this extraordinary effort. So, organizers, thank you. I also want to say that all of you participants have done something extraordinary, right? To think that students would come together for 55 hours and do something without getting a grade and without getting credit is an extraordinary feat in itself. The energy and the inventiveness and the creativity that abounds in these events is sort of mind-blowing in its own right. And so I wanted to make sure that we recognize you as well. Where is this presentation thing? Okay. And then lastly, I want to say that I do teach in the art department, and more importantly, or more specifically to this event, I teach in the multimedia graduate program at Cal State East Bay. And if you like what you did here, if you thrive on working in teams, on creating innovation and new ideas and bringing them into a form that could be presented and shown to the rest of the world, then you owe it to yourself to check out that graduate program, because it's really an exceptional program at this school, not just because I'm there and because Raphael shepherded it for many years, but because there aren't many programs where you work so closely with a group of people to develop something seriously and deeply. And we have some alumni here that can attest to the kind of rigor that you are put through and the sort of benefits that you would reap from that. So be sure to talk to me, to talk to Raphael, to talk to Elias, and come visit us and check out these programs, some of which will be presented on June 13th in the Art and Education building. So you get to see some of the work of our outstanding graduates there. So I wanted to just say a few words, and I won't take long, about this guy. He had an idea because he really missed his brother, and he thought that he would make a machine that could talk to his brother through the ether. And it didn't work out. He told Scientific American in 1920 that he would build this machine. In 1926, he said, hey, you know what? I was only kidding. But he did invent a couple of things, right? Like a light bulb, the wireless telegraph, etc. So one of his quotes is, just because something doesn't do what you planned it to do doesn't mean it's useless. So this telephone that you have in your pocket, it really was a big Ouija board experiment that went wrong. So what does this guy do? Well, by the end of the 20th century, he held 1,093 patents. He said of himself that he created a minor invention every 10 days. He conducted 50,000 experiments to develop the alkaline battery and 9,000 to develop the light bulb. So you've just created one experiment. Keep working. Henri Cartier-Bresson, right, no talk by an art professor would be complete without at least mentioning one artist, said that the first 10,000 photographs that you take are terrible. This is like 10,002 or something, right? He's the father of modern photojournalism. So what do you want to be when you grow up, right, is a question. And how does this help in that search? Hunter Thompson said that the tragedy of life is that we seek to understand the goal and not the person. That we say, I want to be a fireman, and then you do everything to become the fireman, but you forget that the goal should fit you. You shouldn't fit the goal. The profession should fit you, not you, the profession. Every reaction is a learning process. Every significant experience alters your perspective. I hope you leave here having been altered. This is an amazing thing you just did. Alvin Toffler said that the people in the last century were the ones that could read and write, and those were the ones that were successful. He said the people that will succeed in this millennia are the ones that can learn, unlearn, and relearn. No matter what happens in this judging, right, there's this judging component now, what you did is an amazing thing. You looked at the world and you saw problems and you tried to solve those problems. Everything you can imagine is real. So, having said that, some ideas are better than others. Talking to the dead with a wireless transceiver may not have been the best idea. The light bulb has served us pretty well. This is called Grecian fire. It was used to sink other ships. George Carlin, who's probably my favorite American comedian, and who was a speaker of truth, said this: the very existence of flamethrowers proves that sometime, somewhere, someone said to themselves, you know, I want to set those people over there on fire. I'm just not close enough to do that. Don't be that person. Invent something else. It's how you reflect on what you've done today, what you've done this weekend, that will shape you. Reflecting on your experience is a really important thing. Don't just leave here, put the bag on the table and say, yeah, I did that. Think about what actually happened. What did you learn? What did you learn about yourself talking to other people? How did you feel when your ideas were shot down? How did that make you grow? This is an amazing thing that you did. The startup weekend will be back. Tell your friends and you'll be back. The game jam in the art department will be back. Come to the next one. Build a great game. This is going to be a fantastic year next year. Talk to us and find out how you can be part of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was great. All to build something great. And I've walked around the halls. I've popped in and I've said offensive things to most of you. Trying to push you all to do great things, and I really think that you did. And so all the groups are doing great. Let's get a little excitement here because we're getting ready to present, guys. Anybody excited about this? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about, guys. Okay. Well, with that, let us bring up our first presenter, Wiki Legal. Mr. Noah, can you make something like this with your new product?
I'll get started. Good evening. My name is Noah Frigo. I'm an attorney, and I have a background in the arts, and I'm here to try and change the face of legal services. So what do I mean by that? Let me show you. So, the problem I wanted to address, simply put, is access to justice. Most people cannot afford an attorney, and as the statistic on the slide illustrates, a lot of people don't even seek legal representation or legal aid because they just feel totally overwhelmed by the system, and they don't know where to turn. Without funds, clients must use legal aid services and self-help systems. But these are limited. Legal aid organizations are understaffed, underfunded. Because of this, they can only triage compelling cases, and they have very stringent income requirements. So that means that there's this huge population of people who don't qualify for legal aid, but still can't afford an attorney. So that's where I think WikiLegal can really make a difference for self-represented litigants. What I proposed and what I've started to create is a free, moderated, open source database for legal letters, pleadings, and other documents. Believe it or not, this doesn't exist yet. What's mostly online are statutes and case law, basically the data. And there's not a lot of people willing to stick their neck out and put free legal content online that can be used in court. That being said, I think presenting a website that not only has that information, but context-specific translation of users' legal issues into language that they can understand, and easy-to-use tools for them to really visualize what's going on and maximize their effectiveness in court could really make a difference. So that's WikiLegal, but before we say hello, let's see what a self-represented litigant might find on the internet now. So I'm going to do a simple Google search. There's a common legal issue that probably everyone in this room has dealt with at some point in their lives, which is getting a traffic ticket. So if you're defending from a traffic ticket, that's called citation defense. So if we Google citation defense, the first thing that comes up is the OSHA Citation Defense Manual. Now that has nothing to do with defending a traffic case. So if we try and specify this a little more and say citation defense Alameda County, we don't really get anything useful either. Specify this just a bit more, and still nothing really that useful. So let's try this on WikiLegal. The way this is organized is by location. So rather than just type in your location, we're going to use a map and then narrow it down to county and municipality so people can pick the correct jurisdiction. So here we have Alameda County. Here are a list of common legal topics that low-income and what are also called low bono clients commonly see. Here's citation defense. And so the first thing you're going to see is what's basically in browsing mode. So this is information, this is way more information than was already online. But then if you sign up, then you click through these agreements and you have all of these resources available to you. You have a timeline calculator, a guide on filling out forms, and sample legal documents.
Thank you.
Such as this.
Thank you, WikiLegal. your nonprofit track, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, 5 minutes for judges, questions, and deliberation. Or not deliberation, questions. Feedback. Any first takers?
So, hi, thank you. Have you talked with anybody in your legal career that might use this sort of thing? You said low bono clients. Is this a group that you've had personal experiences with, or how are you able to identify that target audience would be interested?
Sure. So I haven't had much experience with low bono clients, but I have worked in legal aid clinics and nonprofits for several years now, and this is just a problem that I've seen from my own experience. A lot of the work that these clinics do can be duplicated by basically having a bank that people can reach directly instead of having to go, make an appointment. Maybe they'll be one of the first 20 people to call and be seen, and then wait for 2 hours just for someone to write a letter for them. That's just very inefficient.
So a quick question over here. How would this be differentiated from some of the work that NOLO does or other kind of low-cost, easy access tools to walk you through these dilemmas?
Sure, that's a great question. So NOLO.com is a great resource. They do a lot of what I think WikiLegal can do, which is explain the law in layman's terms that people can understand, give them the context, give them citations, and give them a good place to start. I think where this really differentiates is having that content that is vetted by attorneys that people can use in court. So, for example, NOLO.com, you can't find examples of pleadings or legal documents or contracts, or you can't necessarily get a visual interpretation of how to fill out a government form or a judicial counsel form. So those are all things that I think are really needed for pro se litigants.
I would strongly suggest that you go out and run your idea past the people that you're looking to serve, because it may be a little complicated for some of those folks to figure out what it is that they need to do. And so get to the marketplace that you're looking to serve, get their feedback on what it is that they would understand and be able to respond to. I've had a lot of, I shouldn't say I've been in court a lot, I haven't been in court a lot, but trying to understand documents is probably one of the most difficult things, even for those that are around the business a lot. So that'd be my recommendation to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty great idea. I've spent thousands of hours as a mediator in small claims court, and it occurs to me that this would avoid a lot of people actually having to get on the calendar and go to court.
Right.
In cases that end up as seldom litigated, should not even be in court at all.
Thank you.
Any more judges' questions? Oh, one last one.
So just as it cut off, you were starting to talk about signing up. Could you really quickly talk about what the model is for this in terms of how one gets more information from WikiLegal, and as well how the information on WikiLegal is updated? Who curates that? What population curates that?
Sure. So I imagine 3 tiers of users. There will be browsers, who are people who are just curious or just visiting the web page. Then for people who go through the click-through agreement and register, then they can access the actual database, and I think that's going to reduce a lot of liability and deal with any rules of professional conduct issues that might arise. And if you have a California bar number, which is already an easy-to-search database, then you can contribute. So those if someone registers as a contributor, then they can submit documents that would go through me or another attorney, or if there was like a law firm that wanted to do pro bono work in this arena, they could also moderate. Well,
Thank you. Next we have Fun Discovery.
Hello everyone, how's everybody doing today?
Right.
We are Fun Discovery. We're innovators looking to revolutionize the way people meet each other. We are not a dating site, we're not a dating service, we are communicators. We bridge the gap between people being able to go online and search for someone and match them up with a local business that they can go to and have a drink, have a good time. With that being said, what we try to do is a very basic form of communication, the chemistry between people. The chemistry between people is just looking at someone's face. Someone's face gives you a lot. So that's the communication we try to push through to our site. The ability to communicate with someone is not through typing, it's not through emails, not through looking through a profile. It's the ability to see someone face to face. So we encourage local businesses, we encourage local people to communicate with each other, and that's what our site does. Let me give this over to my marketing director.
Hello, how you doing? I'm Daniel. So the first thing we wanted to know is if local companies would actually buy into this, local small businesses. So we started making some phone calls. We were able to contact 4 businesses. Out of the 4 businesses we were able to contact on Saturday, 3 of them said we will be a part of this. They were so excited. The Big White House Winery said that he wished there was a service like this when he was younger. And it was so exciting to be able to see a local company already buying into our idea before we even created this product. And it was really, really motivated us. So and we also got the Dirty Bird Lounge in Hayward that said they're ready to sign on for this. And we also got the Rock House in Livermore that really wants to jump on with this as well. So that was really exciting because it's like, all right, this thing's already happening. Also, so let's go to let's cue up the video. Also, we wanted to make sure that local consumers would actually want to buy into this and would want to be a part of this, because that's really important. If we don't have anybody going to the site and we don't have people wanting to meet face to face, well, what's the point of making the site? So we went to downtown Hayward Saturday night and we walked around and we started talking to people and said, do they want to be a part of this? Out of the 6 people we talked to, we were able to get 3 people that would actually let us record them. And I would like to cue up the video and let this go.
I mean, there's a lot of applications like that, and that attracts the people. Cool. All right, thank you, appreciate it.
I think it's a good idea because when you get on dating sites, you typically find weirdos. And weirdos who don't even connect with you, and they just, oh, you have one wedding together. Okay, let's meet you up, and you guys are going to be soulmates. With this idea, I feel like you'll actually find someone who fits your interests more than just a one-like type of thing. So I think it's a really good idea.
What do you think about the idea of being able to not give your phone number and still being able to communicate through video and audio?
That's so much better because I'm a stickler for giving my information out. So, but I think it's a really good idea. It's not too personal type of thing.
I think as long as it's software and without your expectations, I don't see why not. I mean, I'm not taking it off from Philadelphia. Okay, cool. Pretty industrial. But I think the idea is sound. I think it'd be easy for me to network with other bouncers and stuff like that. Yeah, to my field of work. Because we do a lot of art. We do a lot of business face to face. A lot of business we do face to face. Most 9 to 10, all this is all face to face. And if I can recontact with my bouncers down in San Jose, we face on other people as well. A lot of our deals are handshakes. So this kind of site would really help us a lot as a bouncer. That's really good nightlife. Especially nightlife crew, you definitely find like the best bartenders through resources versus Google knows who. But if you have an app like this, you can network a lot faster. You don't have to worry about, oh, did Danny give me a bad review? Or did, once you get the car, get mad because I touch your ass, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can get through all the superfluous shit and actually connect what you need to connect with. So that should help people out.
So as you can tell, Fun Discovery is already taken off in the community. They want to be a part of this, but we just got to make this a reality for them. We have the developers to do it, and we actually have a business plan. And I would like to hand this over to my colleague here.
Hi, everybody. Actually, as what you see here, we got several problems here. People are stuck in their computers because they cannot trust you. They want different kinds of talking, different kinds of relationship with you. We wanted to provide a platform that helped them to have to remove all of these issues. Actually, we were thinking about other aspect that there is companies and there is some local businesses that they need us to help us. And judges.
Questions from our judges?
So did you guys talk about how you plan to actually implement this from a technical standpoint? I'm sure you guys are chomping at the bit to get to that.
We were just about to get to that part, so I'm happy to be back on board over here. Facebook is a huge database of information. Not only does it provide a person's location, but it provides likes and everything about them, basically. You look at someone's Facebook page, if you're befriended to them, and you look up on their About page, something that not everyone looks at, and you can get a lot of details about someone. That drives the engine behind Fun Discovery. The ability to match people with some likes, because I mean, not a lot of likes are gonna, just because we both like, drinking beer isn't gonna make it, or compatibility, So it's all about the first initial reaction. The face, just a little blurb about, this is what I think I'm great at. This is what's embarrassing. My fits think where I wear sandals. So we want to make it fun, have something that's completely awesome, have something that's really embarrassing to someone, and just a blurb from their actual wall that we can pull from it. Of course, we don't want to grab people's information without permission, so this would be an app that launches from Facebook for people that want to meet people. People that want to network with people in case of business, kind of like the examples that we had up there. Ladies, gentlemen that want to talk to others, ladies and gentlemen, or just friends that want to network, like even us, engineers that want to meet other engineers. That's what we're going behind.
I guess more specifically is like, what would be the difference between this and like Tinder or something that already does that?
All right, so that is one thing that I don't like about the dating sites and all of that. You have to pay. And Tinder's one of those that it's a little bit lighter. You don't have to pay up front. But at the same time, okay, so you're online, you look at the profile, you look at the pictures. Who is this image? Who is this person? What we want is an interface that allows people to see each other. You don't get to type anything on anything. If you want to talk to this person, you got to send them a voice message or a video message. If you want to chat with them, you got to video chat with them. That's what we're leaving it up to the user to do. If they don't like it, up to the next one. When they connect, they're able to look at local businesses where they can take their plan.
So really quick, sorry, have you ever heard of Meetups? It's a site that does some stuff that it's very similar.
Yes.
And there's, it runs the litany of the things that you guys were describing.
Yes, we've looked at plenty of the dating sites out there, and one thing me
This
personally.
is not a dating site.
What's that?
This is not a dating site.
Oh, I thought you said Match.
No, it's Meetups.
We did. We have
as well as everything.
Oh, okay. No, we have. I don't think we've researched Meetup. I don't think we found them.
No big deal. You guys could build on some of the great things they're doing.
All right. Have you found some?
I'm familiar with Meetup, yeah. The biggest difference between us and Meetup is that actually the other aspect of our business is we want to provide a solution for local businesses, some sort of connecting Groupon to Meetup. Actually, we're looking for it to connect people emotionally to businesses. That's the whole point of our, we can compete with corporation as well.
Thank you.
And got interviews with people to bounce the concept off them. That is really key. For every idea, that has to happen. And you got great feedback and you recorded it for us. I see lots of opportunity for co-branding and for sponsorships and getting yourself revenue that way. I would guess that you might want to spend more time in the future on designing a good browsing experience for the potential users.
Yes, and we have a great developer right here that's actually able to do all that.
Any more questions from our judges? Okay, thank you. Fun discovery.
So we did our due diligence looking at the certain non-profit organizations, and like we found certain problems with the medium and the small-scale business non-profits. So what we were able to look at, like they have problems organizing their data since they mainly use Excel sheets for tracking their volunteers, be it or donations or any donors. So that was one major issue, and the other one was like accessibility. So the data was sitting in an in-house system. So whenever they want the data, when they are in the field, they have to call the office and they have to gather the data. So we found these problems, and we wanted to address that. What are they looking for? We found that they are not looking for a sophisticated system. All they want is a simple, interactive system that gets the work done quickly, so that they can concentrate the workforce actually working, helping people. And we as a GoServe team present you the Serving Nonprofits. It's a social and cloud media app that is designed for these nonprofits to work efficiently.
For generic NPOs, it fits for all NPOs. And the key features of this app is like it has simple, easy user interface, and you can access this app anywhere from your mobile, iPad, and even from the browser. And it has, and we do have integrated payment solutions with PayPal and Square app, where volunteers can go out and can take payments directly from the event and get donations from the participants. And we have built the intelligent dashboards and reports on the cloud app, so I can show it out in the demo. Okay. So there are 5 core modules in this non-profit application, which is cloud, social, mobile. So the first module is donor management. We're going to manage the complete history of donor, their annual salary, everything. If he's providing us and the tax calculations, all this stuff, and we're going to recommend all the tax stuff to him, and we're going to provide all the pay slips if tax slips if he is donating us. We're going to monitor donors in the same way, donations, payments. Along with that, we're going to manage all the volunteers also by tracking their schedules. Some people want to spend 1 hour per week with the NPO by spending their time. So for them, we have a special volunteer management. And there's other module called event management, where we're going to conduct some campaigns, events, like charity events there, and get donations from that. These are marketing campaigns, and we have intelligent dashboards and stuff. Okay.
So enough said about the app. Let's get dirty.
Yeah. So we're going to demo the app now. So these are the 2 screens we have taken a screenshot, and here is the app. Here is the campaigns where people start with by creating their new. Here's the active campaigns. We have done some 4 campaigns for the current non-profit. I can open a campaign and I can show you the information there. So that is the budget of the campaign, expected revenue, expected donations from that. So after doing a campaign, you are expecting some donations. Here is the donor. So I have seen a guy in the event, he wanted to donate some $10,000. I'm going to create a donor record and donations record here. Here's the thing. Here's the donor object, donor tab, and I can go to a donor. So here, this is the detailed information of a donor. I can see the detailed information of all the donations what you have donated till date, and all the stuff here. If you can see here.
Let me pitch in. So this is a desktop app. Like you can use it via your any web browser. And one feature is that the mobile application that integrates the same data on the fly. You can create the data here. This is the intelligent dashboard. So I'm using my phone to access this tablet to access the same data. So you have the dashboards here, and then you have an intelligent feed. Like let's say like 2 of us are communicating. One is on the field, one is on the office. He sends me a message. Hey, I have it here. and it comes as a notification, and you have all the other features that you just saw in the desktop application. Like you have the donor, volunteer availability is there, like the records here, and you can actually enter the fields on the fly. So you see a volunteer, and he's interested in joining your organization, and you don't want to just get the business card and keep lost track of it. You can actually enter these details here. Thank you. Present to you.
Questions from our judges?
I have a question about security, and there's data here that's financial data, maybe data about individuals who are wanting to volunteer. Have you thought about that?
Yeah.
Security.
We thought about security. We are providing multiple layers of security. So it's like a completely on cloud. You're going to have first level security of your username and password. No one can do it. Again, when you're trying to log in from different location, so some guy is trying to hack your system from different location. In that case, you have to, if you are trying to log in from different location, my system will send you a 5-digit code to your email. You have to copy that and you have to paste there.
So it's just
the second level. The third level is again, it's wrapped over like SSL security certificates. It's there. We have very special security certificates for the cloud app. Yeah.
It's basically like it's a two-step verification process. In Gmail, when you enter, the code comes to your phone, and then like you enter the code and then you log in. It's similar to that.
We have 3 times security, more secure than Gmail.
Is this on? It is. Hey.
Hey.
So I've been running for office for the last 3 months, and I've had to use something similar to this. I use Nation Builder. And can you talk a little bit about how a nonprofit would go about actually personalizing the template for themselves? Because that's been my biggest struggle, is using a very HTML-based thing, and I'm not that experienced in HTML.
So the module we showed is not for any specific nonprofits. Like we are not targeting any one nonprofit. This is a basic generic module. Like you see the volunteer, the donor, and the donor donation tracking system. So these are all the generic model, and we will once if you like our product, we will sit one-on-one with you and we'll gather your requirements. Like, hey, I don't want to track the maybe the donations for now. I just want the donor and my volunteer stuff. So we'll get that data, and then we'll customize it for your need, and you can try it out. And that's how we are planning to roll out the business.
First of all, did you do all this weekend?
Yes.
You put all this together this weekend?
Yes, it's on a platform.
Congratulations.
It's on a platform.
We have no sleep for 40 days.
Who enters the data into the system?
Sorry?
Who enters the data in? Is it each individual nonprofit?
It's the customer. It's the customer being you. So you have your field representative working on a charity, and then like someone donates you money, or someone says like I said earlier, volunteers it. You, instead of getting a card and going back and entering, you can actually type their name here, and then like you're done. Once it's saved, it saves on the cloud, and anyone can access it. Of course, within your organization.
Will you just tell me quickly 3 other organizations that are working in that space that have products that are similar to yours, and how yours differentiate themselves?
We do actually. That's the slides that are supposed to come. So there's one organization called the Gift Donation, or it's called that. They provide most of the organizations are web-based organizations. Like they give you the web-based hosting, but the database server sits in-house. So they come to your place and set it up. That's one. And then like there's Newbeck, one that's a popular CRM app. They do it, but the one thing that we stand out is that they charge you based on your growth. Like you have 1,000 transactions per month, it's one price. And say, hey, my organization is expanding. Then you have to think about, okay, when it's expanding, like how do I put the number of transaction increases? So that way your cost will also increase for the software. So for us, like it's unlimited, because we are targeting the non-profit organizations. We can get it done for the unlimited transactions and unlimited rows, the records. So that is what differentiates. Their transaction is based on rows and the number of records. For us, it's unlimited.
We have time for one more judge question.
questions?
Do you have a revenue model?
Yeah, so we have so we want to give this application for $19 per user per month, but for few non-profits which are eligible, who are doing very low revenue or which are having less donations, we got to use this platform for free because we are completely hosted on cloud, right? So, and we have two models. One is year-based model, per organization per year, $500 model. Other model is per user per month based model. If there is an organization which is set up today with one user, he can buy it. He can pay $10 per year, per month, sorry, per year for his organization.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
For over 10 years, I've worked with homeless populations and formerly incarcerated. And one problem that they all share that they desperately want a solution to is poverty. Specifically, generational poverty. Who wants to pass poverty down to their kids? Nobody does. Poverty has been well researched, and the contributing factors continue to be lack of information, poor relationships, lifestyle obviously, and poor planning. Thanks to Cornell University for the last one. They found that to be a consistent factor across the board. So the solution is simple, but it's not easy. We must instill the key skills and habits into the people that lead to financial success. And how are we going to do that? We're going to start with a number. There's a monetary number that leads someone to sufficiency. And we've developed an app that is going to lead them to that. First, we have the simplicity of design, and now we have the dashboard. The first thing we have to figure out is what their number is. There's a formula that we use. You just put in the information. Is that how many people are in your family? Where do you live? What city are you in? And it calculates everything right there. Housing, food, childcare, if you had a child, transportation, healthcare, other necessities, taxes, and there you have your number. And that's the number that they're going to shoot for. The next thing we're going to focus on is lifestyle design. We found 8 dimensions, 8 pillars that affect anyone's life. Health, relationships, money, service, recreation, so on. To show the connection, relationships. Let's say you're in a stressful relationship. As we all know, stress is a precondition for addiction. Stressful relationship leads to someone who smokes. Smoking costs money. Smoking leads to bad health. Health then affects your money in the long term. Now we're going to talk about some of the activities under one of the pillars.
So imagine I'm a user. I go onto this site, a pop-up comes up because I haven't addressed my relationships in a long time. So a pop-up appears and I choose to click on relationships. I need to work on my relationships. Let's say I'm looking for a girlfriend. I've been trying all these apps out there that aren't doing anything for me. And so I decided to work on my speaking. So in speaking, my first assignment pops up. Right now, there aren't assignments for things like speaking and communication. So my assignment today is to introduce myself to someone in a coffee shop for 30 seconds. As I scroll down, I type down to my coach my experience, and I submit it, and a new assignment comes up. Each assignment progresses. So this one is to compliment 3 strangers. It progresses. The next assignment is to introduce myself to a local business owner and interview them. And my final exam is to perform an open mic night with a poem that I wrote. So as I complete this section, it goes back to the relationship pillar. The whole idea of a relationship pillar is it shows my rewards and the things that I've done.
As an organization, the Number app will develop key partnerships with nonprofit and community-based organizations that have a proven track record of high impact, high quality services for the homeless and reentry populations. Currently, we have one partner organization, Rubicon Programs, Rubicon is a multi-service organization located throughout Contra Costa County and Alameda County, and they will be early adopters of our technology and our curriculum. Our funding source will primarily come from donations as well as grants from the government and private foundations. This morning we had the benefit of speaking with a venture capitalist, and he suggested that we consider collaborating with telecommunication providers to provide the necessary hardware such as smartphones, laptops, and tablets that participants would need in order to successfully engage with our product. Thanks so much for listening to our presentation, and we look forward to your feedback and comments. Have a great one.
So, great job, you guys. Quick question. How would you provide evidence that this is actually working? So one thing that we see as psychologists working in this kind of field is that people have great ideas like this, but there's no criteria associated with it, so you can't really validate the model. It'd be wonderful, I appreciate the commentary about venture capitalists to make sure that you can give these folks the hardware that they need, obviously. But, how would you know that this was actually working? Would you have metrics on stress? Would you have metrics on well-being across social, interpersonal, and other kinds of criteria besides just the monetary unit?
That's a good question. I don't think we've worked that far because the main focus right now is the number. What we're hoping for is they work through these 8 dimensions that they're addressing all these key areas of their life.
Yeah, I'll also say the assessment has been a part of it. It's something that we talked about. It hasn't been in the scope of this weekend, something we're able to do. But the first pages that we did have was about assessment. It was about saying people's different status in relationships, in health. Have you been to a doctor? These kind of basic things so that we can measure where they might need to focus on first. So assessment will be a beginning phase.
The recommendation then is keep moving in that direction. Think about partnering with healthcare organizations, because if you can find that this is actually having an impact across the areas that you guys are suggesting it might, then this is going to have a potential impact for lowering healthcare costs in the communities. And that's one way that you could easily generate more interest.
We also figured that moving closer to your number was a good indicator that things were going well.
I'm curious to know, who do you guys envision as your primary user? Is it the institutions that help facilitate people in need, or is it the person themselves?
Both. Both. So we would be operating through nonprofits that serve this particular clientele. So they would be the ones implementing the curriculum and the technology, and the clients would benefit from that.
Okay, thank you.
So what kind of incentives might be available to have the users motivated to use it? And have you thought about, or you might think about, some sort of curating where a live person stimulates their interaction on the system?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that last part.
I think he was asking about community. So a part of this that we had to gloss over fairly quickly was the community aspect of this site. So the community aspect you can see on the homepage. The idea is to connect with people who you went through this course with. So there's an on the ground part and a on the web part. On the ground, you'll work with other people and connect with them through the community on this site. On top of that, to answer your question about rewards, basically intrinsic motivations. Winning a badge, you're a great master communicator. You completed 10 assignments, mostly intrinsic, and working with other people, so having social benefits as well.
Yeah, let me add gamification. We took the big principles out of gamification: autonomy, mastery, progression, social interaction, and implemented them into the design. So that was purposeful.
It seems to me that you're addressing wicked problems, like really massive problems that have a number of different variables feeding into them. And I think that utilizing this as a coaching tool would really, I think, be is a strength, and it's something that you could look to. I'm not really quite sure about the number, if that number really is this financial number that falls out, or if there's a different number, so that's confusing for me. And then finally, I have a question around literacy. You know, if you look at poverty and its connection to folks and their literacy, if you have something that requires a relatively high level, it might be difficult.
So with respect to the number, we understand that everyone's going to have a different measure on how to calculate what your annual income should look like and what your monthly budget would look like. The idea, I guess, what we're trying to target is the mentality at which our clients approach the issue of becoming ready for a job. So a lot of the times when we introduce the idea of the number, clients realize that maybe the job that they were shooting for, the wages they were hoping to get, $10 an hour job, just wasn't going to cut it. And so they were willing to put in additional effort to do additional job training or certification in order to shoot for a higher wage. So it's the motivation factor that we're really hitting. You could argue that if we use different statistics, we could come up with a different number. 35,000 may be able to take care of one parent, one child, or 45,000. It depends on who's curating those numbers and who's calculating. But we're really hitting for the motivation factor for the participants and trying to get them to see beyond their price, the 24-hour period, and plan for the long term, and really consider the context in which they're seeking employment, and hopefully shooting for advanced employment and professional development, and financial stability.
Paul and Omnigo are being really, really modest right now. They've been working with folks for a long time, using the number. I'm working with the exact kind of people they're saying that this would be for, and it has worked very strongly to help motivate them. So the reason this has a major financial motivation is because that works.
That's what they come in for.
For low-income folks. That's what they're there for. That's what they come in for. So the idea is tying all of these other life aspects, to tying literacy. Literacy was one of our sections. That's in communication. That's in building relationships. Learning how to speak. Connecting that with your network. Connecting that with your income.
Because that does make you more employable.
Right.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
I just want to address, we had one of the biggest teams at Startup Weekend. This is my third Startup Weekend, and I just want to acknowledge the team that stuck it throughout the whole 3 days. We'll see you guys.
Have you ever had or ever known someone in your life who's had an unexpected expense, such as a wedding come up or that unexpected funeral? Well, what I want to talk about today is Split It. What Split It is Split It is a social fundraising network who we want to make donations personal, and we're all about people helping people donating to their social network. So we're tapping into everybody's social network via Facebook and the other social media, and we're bringing them together so that they can launch campaigns, market those campaigns to their friends and their family and their extended networks, and try to raise money for a life change or something that's happening today. So friends, with the campaigns and families donating money to other family members, it's important that sometimes you want to stay anonymous. So like any donation platform, you want to make sure that people can stay anonymous, but at the same time, they can be publicly recognized as well. Now, for those people who do contribute to a lot of campaigns and want to be publicly recognized, we're going to recognize those individuals, those high-value contributors on our website through a ranking system so that they can be profiled and people know that they contribute a lot to their family members and friends and extended networks. So you're thinking to yourself, how is this different than anything else that's out there? There's a lot of crowdfunding platforms out there. And that's a very good question. So the very first thing is we're a nonprofit organization. We're not out there to make a lot of money. Like I said before, we're all about people elevating other people. So the campaigns that are running on the website or on our platform are more about changes and less about business ideas and less about product launches. So we're people focused first and less about that. And the confidence for the donors and the contributors We are giving them access to their network and their extended network, so they should have high confidence that the money that they are donating is being put to good use. So we do need to make money and be sustainable, so we're going to charge a competitive transaction fee for those donations that are funneled through our platform. And with that, why don't we just take a look at it instead of me up here talking to you about it. So, for an example, this is Stacy and Brian's wedding fund. They want to raise $30,000 so that they can have the wedding of their dreams. And they're about a third of the way there. So with their profile, they can include a description, they can include video, they can include different pledge levels, they can have contributed friends. I gave them a healthy donation there, $5,000, because I like them. But why don't we show you right now and give them a little bit more money. So we're going to enter $20,000. We're going to donate that. This is Grandma. All right, so we are at the checkout page. We're going to actually click test instead of using our real credit card, but I'd like to tell you this is live and you can actually use it today. All right, and you can see you can hide the name if you want. We're also making it so you can hide the amount, so you can say, okay, Grandma did donate, but you don't want to know how much. So there we go, we contributed, and as you can see, we're fully funded now, so they can have the wedding of their dreams. All right, and just a little plug, we have our own campaign up here in the menu bar, so we are trying to raise money for this, so that we can take it and run with it. All right, thank you very much. All right, questions from the judges?
So it's primarily families you're going after. You mentioned families quite a few times. That's essentially the
Yeah. So our target demographic is that initial network, your family and your close friends and your primary first and second degree network, because sometimes it can be a little bit challenging to ask personal people for a large sum of money if you're trying to do something different in your life or you have a big event come up. So this way you can receive that money guilt-free, you don't have to worry about it, it can be anonymous, and you can still accomplish the things you want to accomplish.
What do you guys think is your biggest distinguisher between Kickstarter and this? Like, what can I do with you guys that I can't do with Kickstarter, and why would I choose you above Kickstarter?
So the key to ours is that we are focusing on the individual, so we want to have for your site or for when you see, you're going to see people that you know. You're going to be able to help people who are in your immediate social network, and they're going to be the first ones to show up on your feed, as opposed to Kickstarter. And also, it's a donation. You're not looking to get anything back. It's something so someone can have something that they've dreamed of or something that they need, and say they don't have parents and they want to have their wedding, and they're seeing if any other close relatives can help them out.
Just to be like additional to that is because when you go to these other corrupt funding sites, you see the first page on the homepage, they list projects from different categories or whatnot. With our site, it'll be mostly as soon as you log in, you sign up, it's your friends, it's what they campaign, and these people, and it's targeted. You're donating not to what they're doing or whatnot, you're donating to them. You'll see actual change in their life because they're in your life.
I think I understand the distinction, but just to clarify my point, and I think that's an excellent approach. But in this scenario like a Kickstarter, the benefit of extending to a larger network outside of yourself allows you to raise a number like $20,000 or $50,000 by asking thousands of people that you may not know. But if your circle of friends, or let's say 100 people, then you're statistically less likely to reach your goal. So I just want to know, how do you guys assess that? Is that for people who happen to have friends with money?
Maybe I can just add a little bit before you go into one thing for that is obviously is the confidence level. When you're donating a lot of these things, you don't know where your money is going to be put to use for. So initially you're more confident with that fact. You know where your money is going. On top of that, when money is not always the driving factor when we make decisions. So in our case, we're going to have like a ranking system based on ratings, how much you contribute. So that would motivate more people to donate more, to be labeled as such. In this city or in this network, you're the highest contributor. So that would motivate people to donate more. So.
Congratulations on getting it implemented so far. What kind of feedback have you gotten so far?
So we've only had about a day to work on this project. We changed our startup 3 times this weekend. So this is about 12 hours of work. So we haven't market tested it yet, but we have high hopes for that.
Very good.
Yeah, I've got one. So my wife's a school teacher. She uses Donors Choose to engage in similar kinds of requests to aid in the purchase of musical instruments and such for her school. And with that, there seems to be a sort of nobler cause that those who give, maybe they feel good. There's a kind of feel-good quotient. I had a friend of mine on Facebook who started a Kickstarter to buy her daughter a flute, a $2,500 flute. And there was something about that that just didn't seem quite right, because there seems to be a difference in the kind of ask for larger good purpose versus ask because I don't have the cash. So just something to think about as you would think about just sort of your market and how to reach that, because there is definitely a kind of invisible line, but it's there between the sort of helping a good cause versus, man, I really want to buy Call of Duty, so I'm going to have a Kickstarter or something. That's not a question, just a statement.
Thank you.
One last question.
I'm thinking about maybe a larger purpose. There's a Catholic Charities is a group that works with families of homicide victims in Oakland, for example. And very often these families do not have the money to bury their relative who's been murdered. And so being able to maybe have organizations or agencies be able to use it for funding some of those sorts of things might be helpful also.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, one thing I'd like to say about that group, this makes me laugh, is because this morning when I walked in, they had this idea to like crowdsource, like if you got a ticket, you could get your friends to pay for it or something. And I kind of challenged them to do something more socially good, or less Ponzi scheme-ish. And I'm really proud of them for doing that. That's a great pivot. So anyways, well, I got a captive audience here. I just want to let you guys know about a couple other events that are coming up. Next weekend in San Francisco, there's a business-to-business startup weekend. Major sponsor Salesforce. For any of you guys that are interested, contact me. I think what I can do, I think I've got some discount codes available. I'll probably put a link up on your guys' this Facebook page for this event. And then I'm putting on a big data startup weekend, July 25th. Still looking for a location, so if anybody knows a great location in San Francisco, and also ears, and looking for participants and possibly some organizers. So those are my advertisements for the moment. There may be more later. But our next team is, remind me?
Works Up.
Works Up.
Hi, good afternoon everybody. Good night actually. My name is Tuan, and I'm the operations management for this project.
Hi, my name is Daniel, and I'm the marketing operation manager. Who's ever here written a resume, sent it out, filled out the application, but the company never got back to you? Yeah, quite a few of you. It got dropped into the application black hole. What we want to do is to make your resume a little bit more appealing by adding pictures instead of words to show your skills, videos instead of paragraphs to show your talent. And also, shouldn't you get better every day? Shouldn't your resume?
So this is what WorksApp's for. WorksApp is an ongoing mobile resume that can help you create a dynamic resume. Currently, the problem is that traditional resumes are outdated and old-fashioned. LinkedIn is stiff, and it is also complex for everyone else to use. So, and additionally, there is no app in the market right now that can actually help you build a dynamic resume and link you to recruiters. So, solution to this is what WorksApp is all about. We can have the ability to help you create a dynamic resume. We're also able to help you navigate through it easily, and recruiters look at it quickly too, because of the slide functions that you're able to look through just like Facebook. And now, lastly, you're able to look at recordings. You're able to create recordings, pictures, and also code modules for the person, for the user's work samples. And I can make it a lot more easier for them to show off what they're really all about. And also, right now, our competition looks like this. On top of the y-axis, you see that there is a dynamic resume. On the bottom, you see an old-fashioned traditional resume. On the x-axis, you see to your left, it's a social-oriented website, and also on the right, you see it's a job-oriented. And our main competitors right now are College Feed, because they're able to dynamically create resumes, and also they link you to recruiters. But you know what's better than that is us. We're able to help you integrate video, pictures, and code modules into your resume and make it a lot more brighter. We're also able to link you to recruiters through colleges, to college campuses, and also directly.
So what I'd like to do now is walk you through a little bit of what our idea of what the concept of that app would look like. Really, when a recruiter or someone, the hiring manager, is a little bit more interested in you, we wanted to make it easy for them to see what you do and put it right at the top in a feed format so that they can get to know you on a little bit more intimate level than a piece of paper of a resume. As we discussed, you can put up your blogs, you can keep blogs, you can express kind of a little bit of your personality of blogs that you're following. All these different feeds can lay into the app itself. If you want to post up a little 6-second blurb of who I am, a 30-second pitch of these are companies I've worked for. You can post up any type of videos on there, as well as link to other popular sites, GitHub if you're a programmer, or your LinkedIn, or your Twitter. Whatever you want to show, you can link it all into the app. And we actually can show you a live demonstration right now. It's on the Facebook page if you want to click the link, or you can type in this URL. Right here I have a simulator of it. It has a calendar function where you can show events that you're going to. We're here at Startup Weekend right now. If I go forward to next week, you can see that I have an interview with Google, so you can see what I'm up to currently doing. You can post, if you're going into something like public service, and you kind of want to show what type of volunteering you've been into, you can display all the volunteering photos that you've been working on, as well as connecting to Twitter, LinkedIn, and GitHub. So you can use the URL, take a little bit deeper look. We're trying to integrate also some analytics into it so you can see if your profile, how you have it laid out, and what it looks like, if that customization is working for you.
Thank you so much, and I hope you guys join us for the ride.
Seems like a good idea, especially for contacts that are already established, and now you're trying to elaborate a little more. Especially good, I think, for passing the information down through an organization when a client or when a prospective employee has to interview 4 or 5 other people in the company, that this could be passed along, on the calendar that day, so that whoever's coming next in that chain of interviews that's queued up can have an introduction that's a little more live than just a paper resume. So it sounds great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have you guys considered a revenue model?
So currently our revenue model is that we're going to hit the campuses right away using the career development centers, because as you know, having schools, having companies back in your schools as recruiters, as HR coming to your school makes it a lot more better. It makes it more appealing to the future students that are coming in. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to apply to colleges, so charging them around $2,000 per year as a premium, and also recruiters charging them $5,000 per year as a premium for them to access this program. And students will get this for 99 cents for a whole year. That means that they can have access to Google, access to Cisco, every single technology or everything else based job out there. And that's our first year only.
According to a national statistic, 50% of the high school students entering college are not sure about their major. Okay, I don't judge people according to their appearance, but if you are no longer a high school student, be honest and think if you have somewhat contributed to that figure before. Also, studies shows that 50 to 70% of the college students will be switching their major to something else during their 4-year program, at least one time. What's the problem here? Our students do not know what to select and what to expect. So let's think about what if we use that efforts and time devoting to something we selected right in the first place. Here we have some valid data.
So we did a survey with some college students and for high school students to see if when they would use it or if it was possible to use it in their time. And what we saw was around 80% of college students said they would love to have this when they were in high school because they have changed their major at least twice. And high school students, when we did a survey with them, right now there is nothing for them except for colleges pounding on the door and saying, come to our school. It doesn't tell you what degree they should go for. It doesn't tell you the job market. It does not tell you what is expected as a professional. And for this survey, we have created our website.
So we are dedicated to create an online resource that is open and engaging students, school, parents, and organizations constantly so that we can somewhat help youth to plan out their career. So our solution is, this is actually a nonprofit organization or company. We will be doing moderated open online resources, and we will be helping them mapping out what career outcome they're expecting from their major before they're making that super important selection. Also, the reason why we name it ECHO is we want responses. We want to influence people, but at the same time, students have a platform to have some response to the program or the resources that they are using.
So our business model. Our business model is basically, we are a nonprofit, but to keep a nonprofit afloat, we have to have some revenue stream. So our main three revenue streams are from advertisement, is from contribution from industry, and community, such as student development organization. We have some expenses as a company, and some of these expenses are salary caps. We would have hosting costs for our website, and last but not least, we have operation cost. And our business plan is for us to start in here locally in Bay Area, since there's a lot of high schoolers that will go to college eventually, or maybe not, but most of who we talk to are going to go to colleges. And based on that, we want to start with the juniors and seniors in high school. And based on that, once we hit most of the Bay Area, we want to move to community college, because again, some people aren't in college, they still don't know if they're going to change major or not. And based on that, we want to make them informed more. And now I would like you to go to our website.
What's up, everybody? I'm Isaiah. All right, so when you pull up our website, we got ECHO, that's us. Click on About ECHO, and you'll see the mission statement. You'll see the crew posing. That's me in the middle. All right, you go over here. Let's see, college degree. You know, we'll go to bachelor's. All right. Say Johnny wants to do education. Click on education. I'm feeling special education right now, so we'll pick on that. And right here where it's blank is where we're having open-minded thoughts about it right now because the web page isn't completely finished. But we have a whole bunch of other things right here. Career without degree, which is for jobs in educational
would like to see if you have any questions that we can go through.
You've certainly identified a problem, and I applaud you for being really crisp on the problem statement. That's always the first thing to really get right. It's a big, big problem and a big challenge to try and help out.
Thank you.
So I don't have any questions, but I do have some information for you guys that I think you might find useful. Go to something called the ONET. It's O*net. It's the Department of Labor's Dictionary of Occupational Titles. They'll have all the information that you need about every single occupation that is up to date and updated every 2 years. Also, more importantly, on that website, you'll find free, valid assessment tools that can facilitate understanding what skills people are already bringing to bear, as well as their interests and how those flow naturally into specific academic disciplines, or jobs that don't require them, like college professor. Anyways, that's my feedback for you guys.
Thank you.
So would you think a competitor would be, I mean, it's probably a 1970s example, but the college or parachute type of experience, is that the kind of thing you're looking towards, or?
I'm not so familiar with the 70s. Can you explain what?
Well, that's a good response. That was the first edition, so it's had many editions since. But I gather you're trying to engage young people,
right,
and get them to interact with the site. And,
right.
And so there's a series of questions about what your interests are, that sort of thing, and try to direct them. So you might, the style of the interaction is, maybe look at that relative to the audience a little differently. That's my only, I wasn't sure about what your target audience was based on the design.
I mean, we actually kind of ran out of time on that, but what the blank space that you saw was basically, if you're going to have corporations such as Google, Microsoft, Kaiser Permanente, or any of these big corporations actually post on their website what they would post as when you get a job with them, they have the HR come run down to you. You won't know that until you get hired. So we were trying to get these corporations to post that information as early as possible. So before you decide to be an engineer or a healthcare administrator, you would know what does that mean? What do you actually do? What are your day-to-day basis? So the blank space that you saw, that's where you're going to have Google or Yahoo post their what the responsibility is, a video of what a day-to-day life of an engineer is. So a high schooler or a college student would know what he is expected to be. And if he needs to change it, if he's not comfortable with it, change it right now before he wastes his time, he wastes his money.
Yeah, so I'm going to pick up where you left off there, because I have to say there's a big part of this that I find to be kind of disheartening, because in a sense, then it's sort of, the model is, okay, we're going to find out how we can make you the perfect cog for the machines we work with. And I think maybe something that would be interesting and differentiating would be if this was about finding a way to take those who are really interested in letters and the humanities, which are sort of dying types, supposedly dying. I work with a lot of colleagues who are very stressed out because they think it's dying. And seeing how the cogs can become wonderfully unique pieces that the machines need to adjust to, because it seems like the populace or the workforce of tomorrow demands that the machine accommodates them, not the other way around.
Right.
So that's just my only reaction to this so far, because otherwise, then it would seem like my colleague said they could just go look at the stats, or because I think it's a pretty good thing when folks decide to change majors because they discover, oh, this is not what I thought, or this other thing really interested me. But I understand the core issue that you're trying to address, but just be careful. There are certainly a certain number of Lego pieces that go together well, but if we learn anything from the Lego movie, it is that we're looking to all be master builders that contribute.
And just to respond to that, yes, if it's a good thing to change majors, but some people don't have that option. I mean, for me, as a personal experience, personal example, I have only 4 years to get my degree, and if I can't get it, I have to support my own family. So, and I reference this company towards me, is that if I can't get the degree that I need and I can't support for myself, I can't spend more time here. And I believe a lot of students, a lot of people in this world have that same, are in the same situation. So therefore, I mean, it's good to change major, but this is for people who might not have that option.
One last question.
Oh, hold on. But let me just say that I think a fundamental principle of the American dream is understanding risk and reward.
Okay.
And so I would say that that's also something that should be considered here, is just cultivating a sense of that in opening up opportunities for tomorrow.
Sure, thank you.
And also, I want to add some thoughts to it. Actually, when we designed the navigation bar, it's actually designed the way that it should be major-oriented, not career-oriented. So for major like religion, or those kind of humanity major, then the students will got to see, okay, if I choose this, what's the outcome they're thinking. And we can have some real life stories sharing, so that, okay, for students already chose this one, in the future career, what they ended up with. So we can have some thing adding to it, so that we can, it's interactive and it's responsive, and school can actually see what the students are expecting or they thinking the future could be. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Is there one other question left?
I'd just like to add one thing. I think there's another part to what you're doing here, and that is to get the industry HR people to tell the educator what it is you need to educate to get jobs.
Right, that's another thing is that some of the job requirements is so separate what the education it is. Right. So yes, that's one of our goals as well. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I just want to say the staff has been awesome, so I just want to throw that out there. And the food too. Clap if you like it. That's always simply to say thank you, staff, and Ben, people who put this on and let me be here. I'm from California. I'm from Southern California, Ventura County, home to Channel Islands. And so here today, my name is Stephen Jordan, and I'm with Leo, our designer, and we're here to talk about Grad Assist. You just heard Echo. Echo is the high school resource and tool in a brief moment to find out the information you need to what kind of education you can have. What Grad Assist is trying to do is make sure you can graduate on time and on budget. And how we do that, we want to make sure you have the right miles per gallon, your my pace to graduate, as we like to put it, or San Jose coined it very nicely. And it's making sure that you're taking the right amount of units, the right classes, and that's going to put you on the right path to graduate between 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. Right now, there's a huge issue where 2-year colleges or 2-year associate's degrees take 4 years or 3 years. 4-year colleges, why is the norm to graduate in 6 years? It just doesn't make sense. And we still call them 4-year colleges. Yeah, they should be called 6-year, change the name. You know, really. And also, you know, I'm an econ student, so I had to take a look at you know, what other econ students are doing. And right here, it just talks about the admission requirements, resources, applications. Bottom line, I'm looking through this, and if you're a college student, you have to have this as your roadmap. Look at any college student today, how do they get directions? They don't have this. They're gonna lose their maps. And they got a smartphone. This is the thing they're gonna keep. When they go see a college counselor, the college counselor is going to fill out all this wonderful information, and they're going to throw it away. And then they're going to get home and be like, what class was I supposed to take? So Grad Assist here is to, again, make sure we want to be able to take, work with the universities and campuses, so our database is going to be able to work with PeopleSoft, Hyperion, and all of the half a dozen or the dozen operating systems you use that give you headaches, Oracle being one of them. So we're here to be able to take classes and allow students to project what classes they're allowed to take, and also have potential statistics behind those classes to know, well, if I'm a freshman and I want to take a business operations class and I click on it, it might say, whoa, most people who take business ops are juniors. You sure you want to do that as a freshman?
And also, there's another thing. I'm pretty sure the judges are going to feel this. How many of you have a scheduling conflict? Do it with classes, with teaching, there's faculty can't come because they're too busy teaching. Oh, but administrators can't meet in the afternoon because they're, busy doing stuff. So there's all these issues. What we want to be able to do is allow students to know the curriculum they can take and allow that to allow forecasting and projections. And what that is allowing the school to do is understand the demand of the students. I believe someone said, how do we meet the demands of the students? How do we know what they need, what they require? How can we Gradassist is essentially trying to eliminate inefficiencies. To me, these papers, that's a beautiful tree. I would like it back. And it's small things like that. And it's, we can take away all the papers to add drop a class on a single application. You can have integrative dashboards. Unfortunately, we didn't have a developer, so our website isn't as beautiful as some of the others. But on the top left, that's your MySpace to graduate. You click on that, it opens up. You can add classes, drop classes. How Echo, had a design to research your education. So before you walk into a class, just imagine knowing the syllabus, seeing projects of the class. So before you walk in, you know what you're going to be asked to do. That 12-page paper is no joke, because there are half a dozen examples of it that you're going to have to provide. And so that's just one aspect on the courses side. Then we can jump to the financials, which is sort of similar. How many students or how many judges work in admissions, and they have to answer the ridiculous phone calls, the headache phone calls. Right now in California, the average is 477 students to one counselor. California, that's 950 to 1. Just imagine if we can reduce that, and we can free up resources. So on both sides, the students can have a concrete plan to graduate and also have the budget to do it and not have inefficiencies, not have spent 3 weeks in a class and realize, damn, this wasn't for me. And so they can actually be prepared and have it. They're not going to lose their phone. And if they break their phone, they're going to get a new one immediately. And I had to walk around to half a dozen of those little spinny containers to find those. And if I lost that, it's gone. So that's what Gradassist is here. And quickly, I want to give it. Oh, we're out.
So 2 questions. One, who's your colleague? Okay.
I'm the designer in Ottawa.
Okay. It's a great idea, well articulated. Your competition's pretty heavy in this space. You named a few of them. They're all either deploying or developing those types of applications. Your perspective as a student might be a helpful differentiating factor. I gather from your presentation, you have some personal experiences that you want to factor in pretty quickly, which I think you're doing. So you've identified the problem very succinctly and very clearly. It's a pretty competitive environment.
Right, I agree. We have generated a potential revenue. This is just the skeleton idea of it. I mean, what Echo has done is you can collaborate with Echo and then, just imagine a joint company, eventually. So from high school throughout college and even post-second, to masters or even the job market, we can have a full revenue stream that can tap into small dollars everywhere. From even speaking to a mentor, a community college estimate would be $100,000 to implement a project like this for the money we would save, giving counselors time, etc.
Do you see this as a standalone application or a plug-in to existing applications? And I say that with the caveat of, because I have an application, if I'm a student and I'm checking my classes, my criteria for classes, I'm using one app. So in order to use your product, would I have to open up another app to do that?
Great question, and the answer is it can't be, because the difference between us and the major competitors, Oracle, Pyramid, is simplicity. That was simple. We wanted to stick with the 3-click design. 3 clicks gets you to the question you want. If you have another question, you got to do another 3 clicks. But you got to go to the home, But from the home screen, it was that simplicity of an idea to get it. But to integrate it, no, we wanted to. You sign into your my SWEastBay or whatever, it had the SWEastBay portal or whatever campus portal, and it would be, you know, your email, you know, your grad assist, you know, things like that. And then it would just be a simple app on your phone or something, you know, very clean and very simple. Again, user interface. When we came to it, we wanted to be like Google. We wanted to be easier than an iPhone to use. So a child, you know, the 3-year-old can start picking it up and be like, I want to go to Cornell University.
So yeah, there's a lot of competition in this particular space. Suggestion is, one thing the competition would never do, and that would, this irks a lot of professors, is ever link into any kind of social aspect, like you know, supposed teacher rating sites like Rate My Professor or other things. And so it might be worth looking into some sort of integration with that or with the Facebook social graph as a way to, the student often will have options for courses to take, but sort of getting a feedback from the populace or who's taking those courses. Well, I could know the assignments and all that, but what about professor, or what's the grade distribution over time, like that kind of stuff, because that ends up helping them make decisions, and it also invites a sort of game component to it. It becomes sort of like baseball.
I completely agree with you. You know, when you go for classes, you should be able to find statistics, average GPA, average college standing, class sizes, average time scheduled, all their alternatives to community colleges. Can I not pay the CSU cost to take this? Is it offered in different time periods? So what if it's a core class that I have to take now? You know, I accidentally didn't take I had to stay an extra year because I missed my senior capstone class, my senior economics project. Just slipped my mind, and I'm a student leader. I was just too busy to notice, and so I forgot to register for that class, and because of the progression and the prerequisites, that would happen. This would try to pop up, or no, speak to the social side. We want one idea of it would to incorporate student feedback, the student teacher ratings, but more importantly, also potential opportunity for professors to speak about it. So if this is your baby class, you like teaching nonprofit or social entrepreneurship, and this is your baby class, you write that. Hey, I don't want knuckleheads in my class because the people who come in here, we're gonna have a great time and learn a lot. So bring your A game, bring, you know, your entrepreneurial spirit. So then they can write a small snippet, you can see the syllabuses, you can see, you know, you can get potential requests of students and take their past projects and upload. So the student has a clear idea of the statistics of the class and all the numbers, and has a clear idea of what they're gonna learn and the expectations. So although it is, you know, the American dream is a risk, we want to make sure that you've calculated right.
I would like to point out about the last group that presented Grad Assist. Their founder left last night and did not come back. And, you know, that kind of, for a lesser person, that might be discouraging, you know? So I just like to commend them on continuing with their project in spite of losing a pretty significant member of their team. So good job, Grad Assist. 5 minutes.
Good evening, everyone.
Can you guys hear me on this?
Yeah.
All right, cool. I have a monotone voice, so.
My name is Nick.
I'm Trevor.
And we're Nebulous. So as technology continues to advance, the dependency on internet continues to grow. Whether we're sharing documents, videos, songs, any kind of content is now requiring the medium of internet. But what happens if you don't have internet? What do you do then when you need to do any of those simple tasks? I would like to introduce to you our device, Nebulous. What Nebulous does is it enables anybody, anywhere, the ability to create their own private cloud network. In the scenario above, there is no internet, and they want to share these simple tasks.
I just got a new car, you guys should all check it out. Connect to my Nebulous, it's its own private cloud network, and you guys can do all my documents with it. Check out the pictures.
Oh, cool.
Oh, sick. That's awesome. That's exactly what you like it. Yeah, it's cute with the pink and stuff. Alright, well, I know it's going to go get girls, so I'm going to get it right now. So I'll talk about it later. Alright, yeah.
So that's just one situation where, with no internet, you're still able with Nebulous to still transfer documents to other individuals in a scenario that you wouldn't normally be able to. But this is not the only downfall of the current cloud network.
So right now we're going to be talking about what are the problems of cloud servers. Now, a cloud server, of course, is a huge server. You can't be carrying it around. Nebulous fits in the back of my pocket. I'm going to be able to carry it wherever I want, no matter where I am. So for example, in a rural area or just down the street. And second of all, it's very secure, no matter what, because it's not connected to the internet, what you call as the World Wide Web. And also as a fact, it allows you to be compatible with different devices. If you have an Android at home and you have a MacBook, they're going to be able to talk to each other finally, not being able to shift over through different emails. So our solution is very simple. What we did is that we built a product that allows you to make a personal local area network. And it emits a signal and allows you to build, sorry, I got some mic, a portable, secure server, which is basically what a cloud server gives you, but in a very handheld way. It runs on an open source platform, which means any developer can use it. And also, it uses an app marketplace, just like Android and iPhone. And now this is a quick representation of how we will compare to cloud devices. On the right-hand side is our device, where it was tethered directly to your devices. And on the cloud side, it has to go through the internet, losing security, and back over to you. So that you can't virtually bring it anywhere. So our revenue model is very simple. We're going to charge you $200 for the model, and then if any kind of subscription or any kind of software, we'll give you a base fee. And then over to the cost, it's really simple as well. For about 50,000 units, it's going to cost about $1 million to produce. And that breaks down into labor costs and safety and certification. And then we're going to talk about how we're going to market this. It's not that hard. We're going to go through a certain group of 21 through 35, and that covers about 29 million people in the United States. We did a quick survey. About 74 people answered online, and it was most of them said and fit in between our demographic of 21 to 35. So our quick statistic was simple. About 60% of the people were interested in having a device that allowed you to communicate without the internet through all your devices. And about 30% said they were somewhat interested. And now we're going to break down into what happens if you share the screen, like if you want to share a screen between other things, especially with apps. And then it allows you to do 50% with very interested, and about 40% said somewhat interested. And now lastly, we're going to be talking about how we're going to market this. We're not going to use any kind of Walmart, Target, or Best Buy. We're using direct online retailers, and of course shipping to test, which means we're trying to develop early adapters by allowing them to ship and then bring back what they have on it. And of course building a social network on it so that we have an understanding of what we're trying to go out with. And then in summary.
So Nebulous is a private, secure server that can connect to any device with no internet required. Nebulous, your private cloud, anywhere, anytime, it's you.
Very clever, and terrific that you got some customer potential feedback. I wonder, have you found out anything about why they would want it? You got their degree of interest, but what's the motivation? I mean, is it just for people up in the forests away from the internet, or other people as well?
So one of our main selling points, so actually two of them, is portability and security. You probably all either have an Android or an iPhone. You use either Google Drive or iCloud. That uses the internet or the World Wide Web to access those devices. What if you walked outside and there was no more internet? What if you don't have connection to the internet? What if your phone's running out of battery? Because, of course, being attached to the internet takes a lot of battery. Now, as a professor, what you can do is use this object to talk to all the other devices your students have and use the application, because it's open source, to grade instantly how you're going to, like your presentation, your tests, etc. So the portability of it is extremely acceptable. And of course, people who are backpackers, etc., that want to go into rural areas that absolutely have no connection or cell service whatsoever, is one of our main target points. But anyone that wants to keep their information secure and not away from the NSA crackdown that's happening recently will use this device in any shape or form. Any other questions?
Yeah. So talk a little bit about why you need this dedicated hardware and why you're not just solving it through a piece of software on one of your devices.
So the majority of devices that are available today don't have the capacity needed to compute at the level that we're looking to provide to the different end users. So if you're looking at a general phone or different things like that, you have things like Bluetooth, which cannot support a data rate high enough for things like video, or the capabilities to really expand to all, and like screen sharing and really support their own general network. So what we're doing is building a device that has the capacity of almost like a computer with no screen on top of it. And that there then plays as the server that can then distribute and handle the workload that's required for.
We're also making it extremely easy, and having a portable device over an app means your devices, because in a sense, if you have an application on one device, you'll have to have that device with you at all times. And that could be a laptop, because that will have the computing power that this will have. Your phone will not have the same computing power that this will have. And the idea is that you can carry this device with you, and it's basically a motherboard of a laptop without the screen, the keyboard, or any of the other accessories.
And to what extent are you taking advantage of things like mesh web and torrent?
So MeshWeb and torrent.
MeshWeb technology. So
yes.
having more than one of those connected to each other.
Yes. So it's called a nebulae, actually, when more of one of these things talk to each other. And what we try to do is that they will feed off each other. So if one person has a laptop that's streaming a movie, because you can buy a adapter where it would be an adapter for a projector on a wall, for example, and this would be computing that movie or stored on a movie stored on here. And what you can do is, if that's overusing, let's say this device, the next one would take in some of the computing power. So it's called cloud computing, and that's the process at which we can do, but that's on the software side. This we're trying to develop the hardware.
What's the range on this? Like, what's the radius? And is that adjustable? Like, if I wanted to say broadcast to the room versus this table, is that something that you guys thought about?
So, really cool thing about this product actually is, let's say you're an administrator, you own this product, and you want to have 10 people only connect to this product. You will set it up. The software understands, using a smart sync technology, that only 10 devices can connect up to this. So you have 10 people in your classroom. And Wi-Fi allows you to go a little bit over 300 feet, which is about way past that direction. And we think after that point, then you'll be either yelling at each other or you just come closer. And Bluetooth, of course, is a shorter range. However, it doesn't have the same transmit speeds as Wi-Fi. And NFC, if you guys are aware, is a tap and share, which means you can tap and share your stuff instantly. So there's several different ranges, but the software side of it allows you to break down who's connected or not.
One last question about that box in your hand.
Yes.
Is this just a prop, or is this something?
So this is a battery, actually. This is a 20 milliamp.
You didn't make a quick prototype over the weekend.
No, it would be literally really hard to do it over the weekend. But I thought this was a good representation of what it should look like. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, hi everybody. Before we get started, I do need to tell you that I'm here already with an established business that we're transitioning into an established online business that we're transitioning into a brick and mortar business. So what I need you to do is put your VC hats on, because we designed this to actually go out to VCs with. So you guys ready? All right, let's talk about the problem first. Did you guys know that there's a major shortage for breast milk in the United States? Did you also know that last year, just for premature babies, the hospitals needed 9 million ounces? But unfortunately, milk banks were only able to provide 3 million ounces, leaving a 6 million ounce shortfall. That's a lot of critically ill babies that need milk that's not getting it. Now, if you were like myself, I was born with jaundice. And my mother was told she couldn't breastfeed, so guess what? They gave me formula and Karo syrup. As a result of that, I've lived my entire life with some health problems, including fighting obesity and fighting having bad teeth. So because of that, and because of my family here, which this is my wife, the co-founder, we're very, very passionate about making sure our babies get breast milk. And through that, we're also passionate in making sure that all the other babies that need it get breast milk as well. And so, let's talk a little bit about Only the Breast. This is our already established online breast milk classifieds. This is a key to our success. We serve mothers' needs so they can in turn serve the baby's needs. Now, all the others in the industry do that the other way around. So let me show you onlythebreast.com. This is an online classified system. So if you're a mom with extra breast milk, you can go here, place an ad, another mom will respond to you with a baby in need, and then you can sell your milk, donate your milk, or purchase milk through this website, and the mom gets compensated and the baby gets the milk they need. We've received over the last 4 years, we were founded in 2009, we've received quite a bit of media attention, everything from CBS, Wired Magazine, ABC News, many, many more, actually over 1,000 articles. Now, Only the Breast, here's the key, Only the Breast has more milk advertised on it and more donors coming through it as members than all the other milk banks combined, actually twice over. Why is that important? Well, let me show you. Here's the proof. Over this last year, we've had over 7,000 members join. Actually, 650 members per month. These are high-producing donors with quite a bit of milk to share. So, let's do the math. 7,000 donors. Each donor actually has about 1,000 ounces to donate or contribute. You do the math, that's about 7 million ounces advertised through our site every year. So we can take that milk and process it and send it to hospitals and end the shortage right now. We're ready to do it. Let me show you how it works. So a mother comes to onlythebreast.com, they screen them, and they send them to our sister company, International Milk Bank. They do the processing and sterilization. That's very important. We'll go over that in a second. And then they send it to the hospitals for a very good profit. Let's talk about another key advantage that we have with International Milk Bank is we pay mothers $1 an ounce. Why is that important? Well, first of all, I think mothers should be compensated for their milk. It takes a lot of time and effort to produce, pump, and package your milk. Secondly, by compensating them for their milk, it makes it so they can stay at home longer with their babies, breastfeed their babies longer, and very importantly, it makes it so they can continue to pump and to continue to send us donations so we can continue to help other babies in need. So let's talk about the donors. So if we're paying them $1 an ounce, isn't it important that we make sure that these mothers are safe, that milk is safe? So first of all, we test every mother, we test their milk. We test their blood, make sure they don't have any diseases. Then we test their urine, make sure they're not on any drugs. So the milk is safe, the donors are safe. After that, our processing. Now, everyone look at this little bug up here. It's called Bacillus cereus. Now that bug right there is not able to be pasteurized out. It requires an actual sterilization. The sterilization kills the bug and it also makes it so we can send this milk internationally, which is a major, major advantage. We also have letters of intent with St. Mary's Hospital and Renown and others in the pipeline. So hospitals already want to buy from us now. Now the financials. This year, the first year we see ourselves making $2.6 million. And it's a 60% profit margin. It's a very sustainable business. If you'd like to learn more, we can talk about that later. Now, if you'd like to help save babies' lives in the shortage and join us on our mission, and also importantly for VCs, make a great return on your investment on a scalable business. I look forward to talking to you later and answering your questions. And since I got a second left, I want to say the coaches were awesome. So was my team. Thank you. I forgot to breathe. So, there we go.
Yeah. Somebody else?
Let me take it back.
You had mentioned that you're going to brick and mortar?
Yes, sir.
So what does that entail?
That entails actually, we already have the facility in place, already negotiated. Bringing in the equipment to sterilize the milk, and essentially setting up the entire equipment, processing and bottling line, and then we ship it back out. So essentially we bring in the milk, I just said it, that's what it entails.
Okay, so it's not like a customer experience, rather it's a place to have additional processing or to a place to put the workflow for this?
Only the breast is only internet-based.
Okay.
And we're just taking all that resource and actually going to process the milk and send it to hospitals. Right now, we don't touch the milk.
Okay.
How do potential donors find you?
They Google buy breast milk, sell breast milk, donate breast milk for sale, and you'll find we're number 1 for all of those but one. Donate breast milk, we're number 3. Or they just Google breast milk. You guys can all do this right now. We're on the front page as well. We dominate the SEO. All the future of internet market, all the future of this market is all about Google and coming up first, because that's how all the moms find us. As soon as they say, oh, I have this freezer full of milk, what am I going to do with it? Google, what do I do with my freezer full of milk? We come up. Go ahead and give it a try.
I just have a quick question. Because you already have a sort of established project going, what exactly did you produce over this weekend?
What did we produce? We produced this presentation. Basically, I already had a business plan, and I didn't know how to go bring it to VCs. Okay, so I'm like, how do I? And I'm from Reno, Nevada. I should say that this is based out of Reno, Nevada. There's no support there for VCs to go from VCs. So I said, oh, how do I get support? I don't know how to even make a pitch. So I showed up here and said, this is what I got so far. This is what I need. So this is what we worked on, is making sure that we're ready next week or tomorrow to go pitch VCs. And the team has been awesome, and they've really helped me in that way, and that's what we've worked on.
I like the notion. I read the book earlier this year, Who Owns the Future by Jaron Lanier. And it talks about how many things we give away for free now, or things that we put effort into and you don't get paid for. So I like the notion that mothers are getting paid for their time, and it probably relieves a lot of their economic stress at a time when they're not able to generate money the way that they might when they're not breastfeeding or getting into that first year of motherhood and so forth. So I like that notion behind this. And, I think there's a lot of those types of things that we probably should be compensated for the effort that we do. And yeah.
It actually it opens up the floodgates for the breast milk, the availability of it. Because we've polled our mothers on our website, 90% of them will not do it for free. They flat out refuse. That's why we've exploded, because we created a marketplace for mothers to actually get compensated fairly for their milk. And we have all the polls showing that this is what they want, and this is the solution. So by paying them, it's going to actually make all the milk possible.
I guess just sort of a follow-up question. Why don't people do it for free? Have you ever looked at that?
They just can't afford to. Here's the thing. So a mother will have a freezer full of milk, okay? Sometimes it's a lot better to get paid for it, obviously, if they can.
I mean, did you ask why
Yes,
they didn't
yes.
do it, and that's what they said? Or is this your interpretation of that?
Both. Honestly, yeah, it's both. So let me just finish real quick. So if they're going to donate that milk that's in their freezer, they may donate it, okay? But they're not going to continue pumping and donating most of the time. They'll just give their stash away, essentially. But with this model, they're actually compensated, they're actually motivated to continue pumping, which makes it so we can continue getting supply to end the demand and bring the milk to babies. Say again?
It's like a farm. You're trading a farm.
No, I wouldn't say that whatsoever. That'd be very offensive to the mothers, I'd say so.
What would you call it?
I would call it a win-win situation for the mothers, the babies, and the hospitals. I would call it life-saving. I would call it a broken market, how it is right now. Thank you.
So, how many of you think that technology can be harnessed to address problems that were previously unsolvable? And what if there could be an app that would allow ordinary people to participate in this process? The Arab Spring would not have happened without the internet. Today in Israel, Palestine, there's confusion. Where are the boundaries? What land belongs to whom? Multiple peace efforts have failed, as we know. People live in uncertainty. It's a poor business climate. There's no agreement. And people would rather just maybe live their regular lives with their families in peace. Everyone wants peace, but no one can seem to achieve it. Many maps have existed over time. The leaders themselves are constrained by the extremes of their constituencies. They cannot agree at this point, even if an individual wanted to. And we need to get them out of that situation and let ordinary people have a voice. And technology could provide this. So there could be an online space. Teams would form with participants. Every team would have to have at least one Israeli and one Palestinian. Teams would work together and form a map they agree on. Maps are posted for public viewing. So there'll be many, many maps, but every map has already embedded at least one Palestinian and one Israeli in agreement with that map. So they're the map builders, then there are also the players. You don't have to build a map, you can like other people's maps or vote on them. And then at the end of each day, the most popular maps are highlighted. And at the end of the time, there'll be a winning map. Any winning map will have at least 51% agreement from Israelis and Palestinians on how a particular parcel is designated. The winning map becomes part of the public discourse in a change.org or some other format. It's obviously not legislated, but it gives the political leaders, it pushes them to compromise and it gives them political cover to do so. There's an economic development component of it, where businesses would pledge in a Kickstarter-like way to say, if we could achieve peace in the Middle East, this is what I would do. I would relocate my business, I would fund economic development, I would support infrastructure. There could be interim milestones before the final peace process occurs that would be smaller steps towards that. This would incentivize participants to create the vision of what peace could look like in the Middle East. Maybe I would give up a parcel of land somewhere, but I could live without worrying about my son going to war and being killed or suicide bombers. Thank you.
I've seen ideas like this relative to state budget development, for example, in California, with limited success, but important information contributed to the dialogue. One of the challenges that I think we ran into here in California was that the people that were motivated to participate were tended to be at the extremes you're trying to crowdfund your way out of. So something to think about, how to attract a variety of perspectives, because there is a conscious effort required to go do this, obviously, and people are motivated for a variety of reasons.
I have two possible constituencies to start with, and I don't know whether to constrain them formally to them or just launch it there and then it'll take on that character. One would be university students. I was also thinking of the under 26. I mean, they're the ones who are most invested in the future. The other idea that someone suggested, which could be very controversial, would be let women do it. And most of the killing is done by men, frankly. I mean, I know they were the ones in those situations, but women may be more willing to compromise. And then if they came up with a winning map, then how could anyone say, well, that's wrong, we actually didn't want that map. You know, we're not in agreement with that map. Men could say that, but it would be hard to argue against, potentially.
I really appreciated the economic development component of this. But one thing you may want to take a look at is Facebook utilizes a lot of its data from the social graph on a Facebook page called Peace. And what they do is they look at the number of friendships that are cropping up between Israelis, Palestinians, Christians, Jews, atheists, etc., across normal conflict lines, things that we see in the news quite consistently. So maybe by taking a look at things from that perspective, not only you can find people who are already in collegial relationships, so you don't need to just, exclude men. No, I understand where you're going. But at the same time, this is already a well-established tool that it seems to me you could utilize some of these concepts to layer on top of.
Yeah, there certainly are many organizations that are striving for peace, that are trying to build those bridges. A lot of them in Israel have been person to person. There are summer camps with Israelis and Palestinians, or there's, I just heard of a dance group that's, teaches Israelis and Palestinians, and they have a group dance. That's all good, but it's also good to have something that can go viral and involve a lot of people. But certainly I would want to involve or get input from key institutions and existing efforts. Thank you.
Any other questions? Nope. Good job. Okay, that concludes our presentations. Here in a moment, I am going to take the judges. We're going to go off and deliberate somewhere. I think Brad is leading us. I'm not sure where we're going. Okay. So at this time, I'm going to hand it over to Emily, and she will entertain you and introduce you to other speakers. And I don't know what else. What else are you going to do, Emily?
We have some awesome speakers. So I want to give a round of applause for everyone who presented. It took a lot of bravery. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing all of the presentations, especially because I got the honor of seeing it from the beginning pitch. And it was a really awesome experience on my part. But anyways, I would like to, why don't we get the judges going? So we have Brett, and he's going to escort everyone out to the left. Thank you. Okay. So for, maybe this is a good stretch. We are passing out Post-its to all of the participants right now. Now, our organizers are going to be passing them out. Please get your pens ready. If you do not have one, we will give you one. What we are doing is we are going to initiate a vote for someone that each participant found especially or extraordinarily who extraordinarily contributed to the SWEastBay Startup Weekend culture. So in Jerry can count, yeah. So we suggest that you do not vote for somebody within your team because this is supposed to be connecting everybody. So if you can place one vote, write one name on your Post-it, and one of our organizers will pick it up. And then at the end, we will announce who that individual is.
Wait, okay, so hold on. Before you write anything, you should be writing your own name on your Post-it right now. And I want you to give that Post-it to the person you felt, okay, contributed to your success, okay, who's not on your team. But, okay, it cannot be me, it cannot be an organizer, it has to be another participant, okay? So write your name, that's your ballot, your name, on the Post-it right now. And stand up, everyone, after you've written that, and look around, and give your note, talk, hang out, talk, say hi, you're going to say bye soon, so give it to someone that's not on your team that contributed to your success. Participants only.
Participants only, so that's no mentors.
All right, who's next? Who has more than 5? Okay, really, so is there anyone else besides Calvin Warsnut that has more than 5? All right. Calvin, you get to win a chance to come on stage and thank everyone for pointing you out as being the MVP.
I'll first off say I hate impromptu speeches, so thank you, Jerry. I bet if it was any other person, you'd just thank them and let them sit down. Because it's me. Great. Well, I mean, what I guess I have to say is Jerry's my good friend. We've been friends for a while now, and I was really just coming out to support him because I know this is an event I wanted to do for a while now. And I didn't think that I was going to participate at all. I thought I'd just say, hi, Jerry. Cool ideas, everyone, and just go back to San Jose and have my weekend to myself. But after hearing, seeing a line of 40 people come up and have all these great ideas, to see the networking, to see everyone talk, and see the final results of these 8 people contribute all of the skills that we have together and get it done, it really inspired me to just see, okay, what can happen? The next day, we all get in at like 8:30. We're working our butts off all day long.
I'm ready to just, I quit, I'm done, I don't want to do anything anymore. Some of you like changed your ideas like 2 or 3 times. I would have quit before that. So I think the biggest takeaway for this is going from I don't want to do anything to be really inspired by you all continuing to push and go, even if you're one team member and you change your idea 3 times. Go, 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 and really try to make something happen. And that was really inspiring to me. So thank you all for just letting me participate and see what you all can do.
Okay. She wanted to give Calvin his prize first, and I would love to do that too, but let's save it all for together. Without further ado, I'd really like to invite our next speaker. He's our university speaker here to kind of give you a little wrap-up. He's a longtime mentor of mine now. I think I've been here at this university too long. So, Stan A. Barron, will you come to the stage? Stan A. Barron is the Vice President of Student Affairs here at Cal State East Bay, and a truly upstanding individual. And just the way he talks to you will get you to believe in yourself, and hopefully that belief in yourself will translate into good work and good action. And hopefully one day, Stan will come back and just let me know, like, we've done good together. And I'm just so happy that he gets a chance to inspire you all the way that he has me. So.
Thank you, Jerry. Goodness. I actually have been inspired by what I've been hearing this afternoon, this evening. It takes a lot to be able to get together with some folks, maybe you know them well, maybe you don't know them well, start to share something as intimate as your idea. It may seem like it's pretty easy to pitch ideas to folks, but they become a part of ourselves. And not only are we taking a part of ourselves, we're connecting with other people to form a team. These are some of the key and essential skills that employers, organizations, friends are always looking for. How do you work well in teams? Can you communicate with one another? Can you take diverse ideas, form together for a successful presentation? This is essential. And this is what you did this weekend. I'm still impressed that these particular presentations were all completed over this particular weekend, including the Prezi, the PowerPoints that you had. So a big round of applause to yourself for that. I'm very much impressed. Some of you may have learned teamwork through competitive sports. It might have been how you prepare, your training, you have to grind through it. Maybe some of you had military service or Peace Corps or some kind of volunteer activity where you're working with a community group, where you learned how to work together with teams. For some, this might have been one of your initial opportunities. You've always had those kinds of experiences possibly in your class where how do you make sure that everyone is contributing? How do you make sure that we're all getting the best out of one another? There is no magic formula, but this is one of the good examples of pulling it all together. There's another trait that many employers are looking for, and it's recognizing and developing solutions for problems. What you're doing is examining some either areas that have recognized problems or recognized challenges that you might be able to develop some solutions for. These kinds of skills, these problem-solving skills, these cognitive skills, hopefully you've been developing them as you've gone through your classes and some of the jobs that you have right now, but they are critical in the marketplace. They're critical in our communities. We need them not only for the workforce, but as citizens and working in either civic activities, neighborhood activities, just solving problems between neighbors and friends is very important. Another big area that you excelled very well in this weekend was trust. You had to trust in the advice that you're getting from your coaches. You had to trust in your teammates. Trust in this whole startup weekend process. A lot of your time and effort and commitment in this is what developed the success for this particular weekend. I know we've already talked a little bit about Jerry Chang, but let me just tell you a little bit more about him as a leader here on campus. He first became very active with activities around the campus with something very, very simple. Getting people together just to share a meal. The idea that no one should have to eat on their own. You know, that shouldn't have to be. Getting friends together, whether it was small meals and everybody brings a little bit of something together, we get together at one person's house, and then it became something that developed a network of people who contributed. If you didn't have food to bring, then it was your turn to cook. But eventually you had a network of folks who were all working together, enjoying each other. You know, that's networking, but it was really making friends here at the university. He successfully ran for the presidency of our Associated Students Incorporated, ASI. And while he was president of ASI, he had a bunch of ideas, and he displayed the traits that I've seen many of the teams display here today. You had a certain vision for what you wanted to accomplish. You had an idea. You know that this, if it was supported, could solve a particular problem or address a particular issue. In addition to that vision, Mr. Jerry Chang displayed quite a bit of tenacity. His confidence, his persistence in making sure that not only were the visions that he had in mind followed, but to allow other people to share in that vision. As a result, we have quite a few activities that we've developed and continue to operate on here at the campus, including the alumni networking activities, in bringing people to come by the campus and talk about their career areas. And it's started to grow into activities with our Career Center and with our Alumni Association. I want to close with just saying that I know that our University President, Leroy Marishta, would love to be here. He's been hearing about this, and we have so many of our campus leadership that are participating not only as judges, but you heard from our provost, Dr. Hoopus, on Friday, and others. We have faculty members. This is something we appreciate, our students' contributions, the friends of Cal State East Bay, visitors, if this is your first time coming to our campus, for participating in this particular weekend. We do hope that we'll have more activities like this in the future. I'm not sure if Patrick is still here in the audience. If you're still here, Patrick, from Sonoma State. And one of the things that they had developed there was a group called the Entreprenoma, I think that's what they call it, Entreprenoma from Cal State, Sonoma State. Quite a catchy name, but another way of continuing this kind of an effort going forward. So again, on behalf of our university president, all of our leadership here at Cal State University East Bay, thank you for your participation, and congratulations to all the teens out there. Give yourselves another round of applause.
Thank you, Dr. Hebert. I wanted to present another speaker coming up. He's someone you're very familiar with. He's worked with just about all of you, I think, yesterday. And I've never had the pleasure of taking one of his classes because the good thing about being a grad student is you get to focus on things that I guess you feel comfortable and safe with. And the classes that he teaches, I've always thought were things that may be beyond my abilities, but I'm lucky enough to be in the department where I know lots of friends who do quite well in his classes. And a lot of them were here working with you in your teams on Startup Weekend. So those of you that have really good technical presentations from the students at East Bay, you do have this particular gentleman to thank. So Dr. Doran, I'd like to welcome you to the stage.
I got to thank you for even inviting me to participate in this. It's the reason I went into academia was to mentor students, and so every time I get to work as a mentor, it really is the highlight of my day. This weekend has been insane, in the very good way. I get to work with 10 of the 11 teams that presented today, so got to meet most of you over this weekend, and you got to interact with me. You were willing to listen to my crazy ideas and my wild criticisms, and take them to heart. As most of you know, I had a career before I became a professor, and I was a serial entrepreneur. I started a lot of companies, worked at some other startups that I didn't start personally, but had an awful lot of opportunity to invent and to collaborate in the ways that you guys did this weekend, and to create a new product or a new idea or a new app is just such a thrill for all of us. So I hope that you will continue to pursue what you started this weekend. We scratched the surface this weekend, except for the milk guy, and he's got a going business. So that start is critical. It got the ball rolling, but now you got to get the momentum. You got to keep it rolling, and this is the hard part, because even of startups that get incorporated legally, 50% of them are gone in a year. Okay, if you look at how many corporations that get incorporated are gone after 5 years, it's like 85%. Okay, so this is not an easy undertaking. Getting it started is perhaps the easiest part of it. Right? The hard work is to come. And I want to inspire you that the hard work, the long hours, crazy hours, will pay off. And if your whole team is dedicated to the concept and you push it through, if you've actually met a need that's out there and you do a great job of delivering on that, you are going to succeed. And working for yourself, working for your own startup is an indescribable pleasure. The university is the largest organization I've ever worked for, and I feel like I'm being crushed like a bug here. But that's what happens when you work for a large organization. And so, I urge you, pursue your startup. Yeah, you got off to a great start this weekend, but let's follow up on it, okay? Don't let this die, all right? So, with those words of encouragement, I want to not take any more of your time.
I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to attending more here in East Bay and whatever is out there. And I would like to personally thank all the mentors who were instrumental in getting our idea streamlined and pointing it out where it could be improved and keeping our minds filled while Jerry and his team was working hard on organizing it and keeping our stomachs filled.
Sure.
Thank you.
I'm the organizer turned participant. So he's a superhero of this event. Anyway, he invited me. Did. Thanks.
This guy looks like he wants it.
Oh, look at that bow tie.
I don't really have anything to say. We're really tired, and we love you all. So
I have something to say. I'll say I've worked with a lot of groups. I know Paul already said this, but it's not often where every time there's an issue, every time there's something to solve, everyone's willing to step up and make it happen and solve it. Usually there's someone that kind of falls off, or someone that kind of wants to stick with their idea or do it their way. And it wasn't like this ever with any problem that we had in this group. We were always willing to come together, and that's really an amazing thing. I've worked with a lot of people even in the last few months. It's really not often, so it's amazing that we did this just over the course of a weekend. And I want to congratulate everyone on the group
for stepping up, making it happen, because it's really an amazing thing. And I have to give you all props for that. It was great working with you.
Start Beacon was really, really fun. Our team managed to stay together, which was awesome. I'm surprised nobody dropped off. And I mean, we were really dedicated to the idea and the purpose behind our project. So we had a great time, and I hope we win, but who knows. Oh, and the food was awesome, and the mentors were really helpful, and the staff was amazing. So it was a really good experience. It was my first time.
Thank you.
This guy can estimate your retirement earnings in 30 seconds flat. But so can E-Trade. Hey, thanks to everybody. I enjoyed meeting all of you, and we all did. Let's go grab a beer afterwards.
Alright, so first of all, I want to let Calvin here tell you guys a joke about banana peppers, or peppers and peppers.
What did the carrot say to the nosy pepper? Or why did the carrot call the pepper nosy? Because he was jalapeno business.
And on the bottom, I was like, oh.
So I'll have staff member tell you what is our model.
Alright, so the whole idea to Echo is it's about influence. We're providing a network of information to just target your future, right? So the whole slogan to it is Echo the potential.
Before we take our picture, can we request Dr. Doring, Katrina, and Emily to come up and take a picture with us, because you, and Dwight, I'm sorry, I got you too, Dwight. Please come up and take a picture with us, because you guys are the behind the scenes, and we will appreciate you if you guys would take a picture with us. Give a round of applause for that.
So one of the cool things about my job that I have is I work with Indiegogo. If you guys know what Indiegogo is, it's a crowdfunding website. Yeah, I'm part of their Finders program. What is the Finders program? We go around to pitches and events like this, and we find entrepreneurs that want to work on their like product, application, etc. And we try to get them funding. So that's one of my favorite parts of my job, is actually listening to people and just try to get them funding. So if you want to really pursue your idea, or you have another idea and you want to build upon it, link up with me. I can tell you who to talk to on Indiegogo. We can try to build a crowdfund for you. I just want to put that little spiel in case anyone's really passionate about the product.
Great. Anybody know?
Breathe, Greg, breathe!
Maybe you'll get it in a second. No, but seriously, before coming here, the people that I want to thank the most is my team, because I was stuck before coming here. I know I need to go out to venture capital. I didn't know what to do. I'd done a bunch of work, but I was seriously stuck in front of a hurdle that I couldn't get over. And I came here, you guys delivered, Startup Weekend delivered, but most of all, these guys delivered, so I couldn't have done it without you. Anybody else?
In the hallway, or a word of encouragement. Everyone's been so nice to me today and the whole weekend. I almost abandoned things when my developer left, because it just Middle East piece seemed a little too overwhelming, and I don't blame him. But a special thanks to Jerry and Emily, who time and again went over and above the call of duty to make it a valuable experience for me, connect me with mentors, even though I didn't officially have a team. And I just appreciate the chance to run this idea by people, and thank you so much.
That for me was really just, what can I leave behind East Bay? And I know that the most valuable thing in my life that I can contribute to East Bay is the community that I build around myself. And as I leave, I wanted to leave a piece of that community here. And that's why I've come, and that's why I've, really pushed a lot of people really hard, to bring the best possible East Bay to the best possible startup weekend to a CSU campus, especially here in the Bay Area. And I think there's no more people, like there's no other people I would like to thank more than the organizers that helped me. And many of them couldn't come today. To tell the story about all of this, I think there's no better people than these two to say a few words, and then have them invite the rest of the organizers up for a quick little picture before we can kind of get to the more exciting things. So.
Hi, my name is Emily Highstreet. At this point, I think I'm lucky enough that I've gotten the opportunity to meet everyone, which I feel really honored. Honestly, I feel like I'm the luckiest person in this room because I got to actually sit in on each team on each day and ask them, what are your needs, right? And as a student, I can't supply those by myself. I wish I knew about model business, everything about business models. I wish I knew about financing. I wish I knew about developing. If I could, I would have a book and I would read it all night and be able to supply you with everything you needed. And that's something that I'm really passionate about and I can't do. So I'm so thankful that I got the resources to give that to you. And that I was able to act as somewhat of an interface to do that. The resources that were provided to us were awesome. I don't know if the judges know. Google entrepreneurs sent some of the Google employees. We had a salesperson from Google, a developer from Google. We had somebody from Carl from Hey Hackers is actually stuck around, which is awesome. We had some of the awesome faculty, right? Outside of the classroom, it's a totally different energy, it's a totally different pace, and it's a totally different connection. And I am so excited that we were able to create this culture just even for this weekend.
I just wanted to say thank you. I couldn't be here today without the people that are standing on the sides right here. This could not have happened with the team effort that really was working behind the scenes for this. And it's really an honor to be here and to actually be able to help and support everyone else because I really believe that in everything that I do, I want to help others help themselves. And so this is that.
Jerry, I would love to be looking like a model at this stage of my career. I don't know if I can model anything for anybody anymore. Guys, we had a really interesting conversation inside the cloistered halls here at Cal State East Bay. All of you had fantastic ideas. All of you started with nothing really and worked through this amazing process, which is stressful, which is time consuming, which is tough at best because you see people come, you see people go, and ideas are taken, they're shot down, you don't have time to do all the research you need to do, but you all did a fantastic job. So it was tough to actually make some decisions, but we did come to some conclusions. I had prepared a little bit of a presentation for you. I'm not going to give it to you because I know you want to find out what happened behind the scenes, but let me share a couple things with you that are really important, and I'd be happy to share this stuff with you online, whether that is on a portable server or otherwise. Number one, you guys are highly driven individuals. You are very ambitious. You wouldn't have come here and spent this time if you weren't sincerely concerned about your well-being and those aspirations that you have. Let me share with you a tiny bit of research that I do in regards to people with high aspirations and their preference for maintaining hierarchies in society. I'm not going to go into all the details. Suffice to say is that people who really do like to maintain hierarchies in society are often drawn towards high-power positions. This could be in technology, this could be in business. The sad reality is this relates strongly to things like racism, prejudice, sexism, and a bunch of other nasty things. The intriguing thing here is this is oftentimes exacerbated by adherence to free market ideology. Why would I bring this up? I'm a business professor. It sounds like I'm stabbing myself on stage, doesn't it? It does. But let me tell you something. If you don't take care of people, if you don't take care of yourselves, the consequences are quite significant. What else do we find is related to higher levels of preference for maintaining hierarchies in society? Well, like I said, vocational choice and also extremely high levels of stress, anxiety, and depression, and fear of receiving compassion from others, fear of giving compassion to others, and fear, most importantly, of giving compassion to yourself. Now, sadly, this relates to a lot of psychological and physiological outcomes that are really not going to be doing anything good for you besides increasing your copay. So I'm going to just tell you right now, take your ambition, go reach for the stars, do whatever you need to do, but make sure you're taking care of yourself and the people around you, because it's actually a very good thing for you. The second thing I wanted to point out is that as you go through this voyage, there are lots of other things out there that you can take advantage. Jerry is an amazing student. I can't believe I only had the pleasure of having him in 2 classes of mine. And when I say 2 classes, it was just, he was there 2 times. He had to take another class. And that's okay. It's still a real stellar example of what can be done if somebody is deeply concerned. The thing is, the government actually has some resources for you in this domain as well. Have you ever heard of the Small Business Administration? Yeah. Have you ever heard of the, the Social Corps of Retired Executives, SCORE? Take a look at some of these resources out there, ladies and gentlemen. Your taxes are paying for this already. You can receive free follow-up to the things that you've done here today. So VCs are wonderful. I engage with them quite frequently in terms of some of the products that I've created by virtue of my experience here. But do take care of yourself. Go out there, get mentors, and make sure that you are continuing on your path. Thanks, guys. Let's find out exactly who won, shall we? Over to Jerry.
So we're going to start with university innovation. Okay, is this maybe one of the ones you were talking about? Could be. Okay. For the best university innovation, the prize is going to be that you get to sit down. Your team will get to sit down and have lunch with President Marishta of our university and talk to him about your idea. He's under no obligation to help you or support you or even really stay awake and listen to you. That's your obligation to do for yourself. So, we can get you in the same room. We can, convince him to put food on the table, but the rest is up to you. So, this goes to the team Echo.
Yeah!
Come on up. Who's going to take this? Yeah, okay. Oh, there you go. Okay. Go ahead and take a picture with your team. Okay. Is one that's, I think, going to be special to everyone's heart, actually, I think. You get to have a conversation with Dwight Smith with the opportunity to be connected by Dwight Smith to someone who will help your nonprofit idea along. Dwight's already come up with several resources that he has in mind. And now that he knows who it's going to be applied towards, I think it's going to be quite wonderful. So I want to invite the Number app. Congratulations. With such hard work. What Keiretsu does is they connect aspiring entrepreneurs with angel investors. This particular prize is the opportunity to sit in on a due diligence call with an actual startup that's right about to get hopefully a lot of money. So you get to listen in, you get to kind of dissect the call, understand it, and if you manage your relationships right, I think with Keiretsu, hopefully have a follow-up session with them as well. So this prize, the first runner-up for Best Business, goes to SplitX. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good job. Good job. This gentleman named Sundar Padmanabhan, and he was supposed to be a mentor, but he couldn't make it on Saturday. But he still left us with this wonderful prize, which is an opportunity to have lunch with him. and he may or may not invite people from his company to lunch with you. And his company is Silicon Valley Bank. Silicon Valley Bank runs a lot of contests and programs to develop entrepreneurs. So now you're going to have a chance to be a part of that through Silicon Valley Bank. So when I say now and when I say you, I'm going to say it's nebulous. Sponsored by Keiretsu. Okay? Keiretsu has an academy that trains aspiring entrepreneurs to build a business plan and build a presentation and hopefully get funding and get everything started. So Keiretsu has generously donated one seat in their Capital Access series of their academy. And the scholarship is valued at $1,250. And it's for you, Calvin. Congratulations. Mr. Dudley Braun. Dr. Diane Rush Woods. Mr. Rocky Fernandez. Mr. Elijah Fillmore. Mr. Richard Sherritt. Mr. Ian Pollock. Dr. Rafael Hernandez. And Dr. Daniel Martin, guys. All right, everyone, can I get a nice round of applause for our judges?
Longer here. Jokes, you got something? What's going on back here? That one's kind of good and appropriate.
I'm telling you a joke right now, this is not good. So, why does Snoop Dogg need an umbrella?
For drizzle my nizzle.
For drizzle my nizzle. That's not very funny, but for drizzle. I think it's a funny word.
On that